Hello, everyone. My name is Keith George. I am a Code.org Computer Science Fundamentals Facilitator and the Educational Technology Specialist for AMSTI. And in this short tutorial video, I'm going to walk you through setting up a new class in the Code.org Teacher Dashboard. This will allow you to track the progress of your students and kind of organize their work, and will speed your assessment of students as you go to give credit in your regular grading system. So I'm just at code.org, and I'm going to sign in to my teacher account first, and that's going to take me straight to my dashboard. And in the dashboard, you can see previous sections that I have already created, but for most of you, you're going to have kind of a blank area here, but an option to add a new classroom section. Now, in code.org speak, a section is the equivalent of a class. So for K5, K6, most elementary teachers might only have one group of kids, perhaps two, if you team teach with another teacher. But some upper elementaries are already changing classes, and you may be on a 7-period day, and so you may have 5 or 6 different individual classes, groups of kids. So when you see section here, just think of this as a distinct group of kids. And to create a new class, you create a new section, you have a couple of options. For our very little kids, you can create a class and have them use picture logins, where they just have a secret picture that they will use as their login. For upper elementary, they can use word logins, where they're given a secret pair of words. Or for our older kids above age 13, they can actually create their own code.org account using an email address. We're going to go with our upper elementary and use word logins. And for each class, we need to name it. So I'm just going to call this Webinar Sample Period 1. And I'm going to select a grade. Let's say 4th grade. You'll select your code.org course. So for 4th grade, that would be course E. I'm going to use the 2018 new version. I'm going to leave lesson extras on, and I'm going to leave enable pair programming to yes. Click save. And now you can see I have my course listed. But right now my course has no students. So let's take a look at what we can see here. The first thing to notice is if I click on the course title, the title of the course there, it's actually going to take me into the course. That's just a quick way to get to it. I'm going to use my back button to come back to my dashboard. If I click on the section name, it's going to take me to the dashboard for that class period, for that group of kids. Now, a couple of things you can see here. I can quickly switch sections if I'm working with multiple groups of kids. Down here, I have my login information, so my section code, this unique number or the group of letters that if you have your students go to code.org/join and enter the section code, that will automatically add them to your class. You can also do the sign-in page directly to it, or you can print out login cards with your students' login information. Now, I don't have any students right now, so printing login cards would be kind of a waste right now. So let's try to get a couple of students in here. So first, I could just come here to student name, and I could enter a name, say, and if I wanted to do an age, I could do an age. And when I click add, it's going to add this student to my class. Now notice that it randomly generated a username for this student. And now I can actually say show secret, and I see the secret word. Now, word logins are a 2-word phrase. Uses standard English. It won't grammatically make sense. It may be a noun and a verb, it may be 2 verbs, but it's just a randomly generated phrase that the kids can use. If they forget it or somebody else learns theirs and you need to, you can reset that phrase, and you can do that as many times as you need. So my student is in there. Once I've got a student in there, if I need to do any management, I could edit the student. Perhaps I misspelled the name. I could correct any spelling and save it. Now, if I have a bunch of students to enter, there are a couple of ways to do that. First off, if I click Add Multiple Students, if I had an existing list of students, I could just copy and paste the names, one per line. You don't need to do commas or anything like that, just one name per line, and it will go first and last name. So I can enter several students this way, either by typing them in one per line or by copying and pasting if I have a list. And now when I click Done, notice it has added those students. I can go back in and add an age, gender if I like to, but now that I've entered them, I can save any changes that I make. And now they're in my course just like they were. Randomly generated usernames, randomly generated secret phrases. If I need to, I can move students. If I have a student transfer from one course to another, I can select a different course to move them to and move them out. That's very handy if you have students that perhaps their schedule changes for some reason and you need to move them to another course. Now I'm going to go back to View All Sections and let you look over here. You can see my number of students. Now is a link, now that I have students in there. If I click on it, it's going to take me to my same dashboard where they were working before. If I go back to my dashboard, notice I can click on the login information. And again, that goes to a login information screen that I could copy and paste these instructions to. And now you can see my login cards, which I can print, now have the URL and the course code for students to join, as well as their name and their secret word. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go in a new window, and I'm purposely going to select an incognito window so that I can show you code.org/join. And when it comes up not logged in, it asks me for a section code. I enter my section code and I can choose my name. Notice it's only showing first names. We'll pretend that I'm George Washington. I click George and enter my secret words. And I did not look at my secret words before I switched to this window. So let's go back and see what my secret words were for George. West against. West against. And now when I sign in, I don't have a partner on my computer right now, but when I sign in with my secret words, select my age, I'll say I'm 11, continue, and notice that I'm now logged in as George. And if I go back to my teacher account and go to dashboard and go to my course and click on George, notice that I now see the progress of the student. So if I switch back to my George and I click here and I do an actual lesson, let's say I watch that video, and now I'm going to snap all the blocks together and click run. And I was successful. If I now go back to the teacher page and do a refresh, you can see my progress. I have completed these activities. And at the bottom of the page, you see the key, a hollow white circle, not started, yellow, they're actually doing it, a kind of a muted pastel green. So I completed it, but I used too many blocks to do it. Solid green, I completed it and perfect. Okay, we won't have many assessments at the CSF level, but this is just to show you that you can see student progress for George in the course from your dashboard. So if I go back to my dashboard and I'm in my course, notice there's another way to see progress too. As I see my course here, I'm going to see my student progress here. And if I switch to 2, it expands that out. And now you can see the 3 lessons that it sees that I've completed. So I'm always able to see student progress. I can jump back and forth to different lessons and see their progress here. And I can click View Course to go back to the actual content of the course. Now notice I'm in my teacher panel here, so I'm seeing mine. George is still over here in the student. I'm just using a different window so I can show you both views. So that's a quick overview of the teacher dashboard for code.org. Very simple to create a classroom section. Once you have a section, you can view progress of the students. You can manage your students. When it's done, you can print certificates. You can always go back and edit the section details, change the name of the course, what have you. When you're completely done and you want to clean up your dashboard, when it gets a little cluttered, you can archive those sections so that you don't see them and quickly get the login information to help your students log in just by clicking the login code. So I hope that you found this helpful. That's just a quick overview of the dashboard and how you might use it with your students to set up a section for each class or course, each group of students. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to follow me on Twitter at BigTechCoach or to drop me an email at keith@keithgeorge.net. Thanks.